Hello, this is Don Emmett, and I'm the Managing Director of Entrust Associates. And we're here today with Mary Contando. She's an author, a coach, and the founder of the Woman's Advantage. So let's learn a little bit about the Woman's Advantage.
Great.
Good morning, Mary. Thank you for joining us.
Delighted to be here, Don.
All right, so tell us about the Women's Advantage.
Well, the Women's Advantage is a very structured program based on one of my books and workbooks, and it's designed for women who have very small businesses but big ideas, big dreams. So 1, 2, 3 person businesses, but that can scale up to the $1 million level and beyond. And the program enables them to do just that.
And how long has the Women's Advantage been operating?
Well, we started the program as a pilot about 2 years ago in 2012, and it has really expanded and expanded. We kind of, like any good business, we keep tweaking it, we keep modifying it, and at this point now we've got 8 chapters across the state of North Carolina, and we're getting ready to expand into South Carolina, Florida, and a couple of other states we're looking at.
Obviously, you saw a need for women business people. Why or how did you decide to exclusively gear your business toward that market segment?
Well, back in 2001, after we had sold our second company, I was just working as kind of a general sales and marketing consultant. And when September 11th hit, I had to wake up that morning, and I was scheduled to go work with a client of mine who happened to be a male, and my first thought when I woke up was, oh, I've got to go work with this guy. I felt like I was out of sync with him. He didn't really listen to my suggestions. And then my thoughts flashed back to the day before, September 11th, and I thought, all those people who went marching off into that building had no idea that that was going to be their last day on the earth. And why would I ever spend what could potentially be my last day on earth working with a client that I didn't like? So I put on my slippers and I padded across the hall to my home office, and I got out a piece of notebook paper and I drew a line down the middle, and on one side I listed all the clients I loved working with, and on the other side I listed the clients that I was putting up with so I could invoice them at the end of the month. And it just so happened that everybody who fell out on this side of the page was a woman business owner. And I said, if that isn't a sign, there isn't one. So that day I picked up the phone and I called all those clients who I was just working for the invoice, called them all up, and I referred them to people who I had previously considered my competitors. And from that day forward, I just marched forth with that mission to help women start and grow businesses.
So tell us a little about a woman that engages with you in the Woman's Advantage. What's your intake procedure, or how does that differ from maybe regular coaching?
Okay, so the Woman's Advantage is a group of women who start the program together and work through it. Almost, you could think of it almost like a college course with higher level students. So these are all women who are in business. Some of them are one-person companies, some of them have 8 employees, but they're all, what they have in common is they have kind of gotten stuck at a certain level. So they're stuck at 200,000 or they're stuck at 750,000, and they just can't get off that mark. So they come to the program month after month. We have a 3-hour meeting once a month. They come to the program month after month, and prior to coming to the meeting, they have read a chapter in the book and completed a chapter in the workbook, and they then come in prepared to discuss how what they've learned applies to their business. So we have this discussion about that, and it's a very month-by-month structured program. So each month they're learning something new, and by implementing what they've learned in the program, their businesses expand dramatically. I mean, I had one woman say in the first 3 months of the program, her revenue grew by 400%. So those are the kinds of results that the program gets.
That's spectacular. So what would you say, being a male entrepreneur, I know we have our own trials and tribulations, challenges that we face. What would you say are challenges that are unique or to women entrepreneurs?
Without stereotyping, because it's really easy to do that, I would say that one of the challenges women have across the board is they are hesitant to take on things that have significant risk involved. So that doesn't mean that they won't take on any risk. If they think there's, maybe an 85% chance that they can make something happen, they will take that on. But the lower the numbers get, the more hesitant they are to take out a second mortgage on their house or get a line of credit or hire employees, those kinds of things. And studies have shown that men do not have that trait. If a man thinks that he's got a 40% chance of making something happen, he's going to go for it. And I don't know if it's conditioning, I don't know if it's the way women were nurtured as children, I don't know what causes this, but over and over and over again, you do see that one of the challenges women have is taking on significant risks, and sometimes that's just really necessary to grow their business. Another thing that I found really interesting is a lot of times if a husband and wife own a home together, the guy will think nothing of taking a second mortgage out on the house to start his business. And the woman hesitates to do that because I don't know if she looks at it as our home or maybe even his property, as a throwback to heaven knows the 50s or whatever. But women are really reluctant to take any kind of a risk on joint property that men won't even think about. They'll just absolutely go for it. You're nodding your head, so you've seen this. You've seen it,
yeah,
right?
Well, I'm very, I was taught at a young age, you never put your house into your business.
Okay.
But I can see that, and we often learn more from our failures than our successes, and there are several business endeavors that I engaged in that my wife thought maybe wouldn't have been the best opportunity for me, and which is why I guess it's good to have someone who's risk averse and someone maybe who's a risk taker, and to balance the equation.
As a sidebar to business, I have read recently that the reason there are so few women in politics is because a man will run for an office if he thinks he's got a shot at all of it, and a woman has to feel she's got like a solid 80% chance of winning before she'll even attempt it. And very few politicians coming out of the gate have got that really solid 80% in their back pocket. And so as a result, women won't even run for office unless they feel that they've got this really significant chance of winning. And guys are like, I think I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. What the heck? And the other thing, of course, with women is the whole issue of raising money is one of their challenges. They are hesitant to ask for money.
Okay.
So that's probably more than you wanted to hear about that.
Not at all. That's great data. So the Woman Advantage has become a business. This is not just a social good that you're. So obviously, your people at your round table are paying a fee of some sort, and perhaps in addition to the monthly get-togethers, there's probably also some one-on-one time with you, and I guess you mentioned how the business is growing, and there's 8 chapters now in North Carolina. So I guess do you have other people in the Advantage that are fulfilling your role in that, or are you on the road attending each of these 8
Well, when I
branches?
started, my goal was, let me see if I can get this one chapter up and running as a pilot. Actually, some local women had come to me who had smaller businesses, and they knew that I lead roundtables for multi-million-dollar business owners, women who own multi-million-dollar businesses. So they knew I did that, and they came to me and they said, I don't qualify for this, but I really would like it if you could start some kind of a program for smaller businesses. So they came to me and asked me, and I thought, well, let me set this up as a pilot and see what I can make happen here. So I did that. I set up the pilot, and as I said, based it on one of my books and one of my workbooks, which are also called The Woman's Advantage. And I originally said, okay, I want to set up a group of 10 women, and I went to the first information session and 12 women signed up. So I said, well, I'll set up a group for 12 women. I went down to Charlotte because people down there had heard about what I was doing here in Raleigh. I went down to Charlotte, and they had 14 women in the group. So as I introduced it to the group, I said, so the group is going to be consist of 12 women, and that day 14 of them signed up. Gave me their credit cards, the whole 9 yards. So that second experience, it really hit me. This is really a tremendously needed service. If it's this, you know how tough it can be to sell a program or a service or anything, really. The fact that it was so easy for me to sell this to almost every person who was in the room sent me a message that I was really onto something. Mm-hmm. So I then decided, if I'm going to expand this, I'm not going to be Mary running all over the world doing it. I'm going to identify really key, seasoned women who are business leaders to do this. So I then trademarked the name, developed procedures, developed a licensing agreement, and so now I have a licensing agreement with other women who are leading the program in other cities, and I do that. We provide all the products and the back office and the website and all that, and then they physically go in and lead the sessions. So it's been a great success. I've been very selective about the women who I have brought in, and have gotten rave reviews on all of them. And so, yeah, one of the challenges with small businesses is small business owners often want to do it all themselves. And that's where you get stuck at 200 or 750 or whatever number it is. That's where you get stuck. When you can say, you know what, I'm going to identify people who are smarter than I am, and I'm going to bring them on, and then I'm going to take a backseat. I'm going to direct at a really high level. I'm going to make changes. I'm going to innovate. I'm going to do those kinds of things. And I'm going to hire really smart people to do the actual work. That's when you can break through. You can break through any number if you have that mindset. If you don't have that mindset, you are going to sit at the bottom of the pool.
Because any business owner, any manager, you can't do it all. You have to.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to learn how to delegate, how to let go, and give people a task, a goal, and let them do their job, make them accountable, and let them do it.
And really, sometimes I find people, for whatever reason, are hesitant to hire people who they think are better than they are in whatever area. And I'm in my glory when I can let me find somebody better than me in finance. Let me find somebody better than me in legal. Let me find somebody better in all these areas. And when I was running a technical company, I couldn't have written code for that if my life depended on it, and I intentionally stayed above that because that enabled me then to focus on how's this going to make the customer money, how's it going to save them money. The customer doesn't care about the inner workings of things. So if you can move above that and then hire really, really, really good people who can handle all that stuff, you're home free.
You're mentioning now that the Women's Advantage going into other states. So what's your strategy for attracting new clients and or I guess new group leaders for licensees for your growth?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm also affiliated with a group of women who run roundtables for multi-million-dollar businesses. So I run those roundtables in the state of North Carolina. And I know the women across the country who are doing that for the same organization and have gotten the okay from the founder of that organization to introduce those same women to potentially lead the Women's Advantage. So I really have got a great resource for identifying women in all the key cities in the US and Canada to lead this. And we've developed a fascinating program called the Women's Advantage Experience, which is just a slice of our program that we go out and deliver at no charge for women who are interested in finding out about the program. So right now what we're doing is teaching women how to create a process for increasing referrals. Because we always hear from women, you know, how do you get most of your customers? Oh, word of mouth. Everybody says word of mouth, word of mouth. Well, what would it look like if instead of letting that word of mouth trickle into you, you went out and you opened those floodgates intentionally and you pushed all those customers into you? So we've developed a process for creating and managing and pushing all the way through from introduction to sale, referrals for the very best kind of customers you want. And that's a program that we then deliver at no charge for women who are interested in finding out about the program. And generally, once they go through that and they see, because it is very different mindset than anything they've ever been exposed to before. And so then they kind of can see how really radical a lot of our concepts are that we teach in the program. And I mean, obviously, if you're going to grow your revenue by 400% in 3 months, something radical's got to be happening. Yeah, so that's how we've been expanding it, is identifying really great women to lead it in key cities, and then having these Women's Advantage experiences where we invite women who are interested in finding out about the program to come in and learn something in 2 hours that they can absolutely that day go home and apply to their business.
Great stuff. So Mary, you've been in business for
Forever.
a long time,
Since I was about 8 years
you've
old.
developed a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've had mentors and great people you've worked with along the years. What would you say is the best piece of business advice that you've gotten in your business career?
You know, it's kind of crazy to think of her as a mentor, but my daughter has been wildly successful in business. And she and I were having lunch one day, and I was talking to her about all these different opportunities that I was kind of chasing, if you will. And she stopped me in mid-sentence and she said, "Mom, if you're not turning down opportunities, you don't have a strategy." And I thought, wow, that's a pretty powerful thing to think about, because a lot of small businesses, every opportunity that comes along, they're going to chase it. And I was at that time.
We do that. We do that. Yes, sure. We do that.
Yeah. So what I find is a lot of small business owners just chase every opportunity. And what I encourage women to do is to really determine what market, what products, what offerings, and then put your blinders on and just focus on that. And that to me has, I mean, you know, the last 2 years that I've been building this Women's Advantage program, I've had all kinds of opportunities to do everything under the sun. And I always circle back around to, is that going to help me build this program? And if it will, if it's, you know, a speaking opportunity in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I can go there and meet women and potentially set up a chapter, that's great. I'll follow up on that. And if it's and this is the hardest thing to do, if it's something that's just going to generate short-term revenue, then you've got to say, no, you know what, thanks, but no thanks. And it is so hard to turn those kinds of opportunities down.
It is. I think we've all been in that place, and just having a strategy and a business plan. And apparently 10% of business owners actually have a business plan. And I think the percentage of business owners that actually that do have one, but go back and look at it from time to time and see that they're following it is likely even smaller. So have a strategy, stick to it, be disciplined in your endeavors, I think, is a great, great takeaway.
That's right, that's right.
So, and to take that to the next level, if you were to give advice to a young entrepreneur or new entrepreneur starting out, would that be what you would say, or do you have something more profound?
One of my favorites is you get what you tolerate. So you just think about that. You get, so people are complaining about their boss, or they're complaining about their employees, or they're complaining about their mother-in-law, or they're complaining about their teenagers, whatever they're complaining about. And I say, you're tolerating the way they treat you. You get what you tolerate. So I think that's an amazing piece of advice, not only for business, because it can certainly be your employees or your vendors or whatever, but in your personal life, you get what you tolerate. So I think that is an amazing one.
We're very lucky to have you here in the Triangle and to help the women business people, future business leaders, to grow their business and scale it to wherever it's can take them. So
I can't imagine a better place. Can you?
I can't. Thank you very much, Mary.
Yeah, great.
Best of luck
Thank
to
you.
you.